so happy to be here with the one and only amazing Lark Galley. Is it Galley or Galley?
Galley,
It
Galley.
is Galley.
Yeah.
Yes, I just said that. I was like, wait a second, Galley or Galley? Lark Galley. And I'm Denisha Christensen, and I'm on a walking pad. I've been sitting too much today and wanted to get some steps in and move my body. So super excited. I hope don't make you dizzy with the moving around.
I mean, I'm impressed you can do both.
I walk very, very slowly if I'm having conversations like this, and some people tease me that I get out of breath when I do it, but it's okay. Just pretend like we're a friend that we're walking on a beautiful, not stormy, cold winter day. Walking at the park or something. So, Lark, tell us a little bit about you, who you are, what you do. And before we do that, we are co-producer, joint venture partners with Bronwyn Oehlenschläger. We should do one with the three of us sometime. That'd be really cool.
That could be crazy.
I know. We're producing an event called The Art of Expansion, March 14th and 15th in Orem, Utah. And it's going to be fantabulous. We've got a group of like eight. We have eight speakers so far, I think, Lark, that are coming, speaking about all different aspects of business, clear from like mindset and money to hiring to Facebook ads to marketing to networking, like all these amazing tools. Have about 200 women there, men and women there. It's going to be fabulous. So mark your calendars, look in the comments for a link or DM one of us and get a discount link. Lark, tell us a little about you and what you're going to be talking about.
Okay, so excited to talk about this. So when I actually had this thought about doing an event, I'm all about business. I love business. Like if I can be out like amongst friends or just meeting people and suddenly somebody says something about business, I'm like, oh, like spidey senses. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. Let me talk about business. I was I was the woman in the neighborhood that was always over talking with the group of men because I was like, "Oh, tell me about what you're doing in business." I was not interested in changing the diapers or the kids' school schedules, soccer. Nope, not me. So anyway, I love it, and I actually attended Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses back in I want to say 2015,
Oh,
and that's specifically for small businesses. You have to meet a certain criteria, so it's
yeah.
not, when it's small, it's still, you're doing over 300,000 a year. Usually it's a specific business. You have to have at least 4 employees, etc. And
Cool.
at that time I owned a trucking company, and I am going to be talking about, because I think it's so like amazing, the things that I did, that I look back and I'm like, how did I do that? And so I'm going to be sharing how I streamlined this trucking company that I inherited from my father. It was in debt. It had trucks that twice as many trucks as they needed. It weren't even the right kind of trucks, some of these. Um,
Wow.
and all the things that were taking extra time and extra money and all this drain, and just step by step what I did to eliminate the waste, to change how things were handled. Within 9 months of taking that over, I was working 1 hour a week in an asset-based business. Yes. And I'm like, okay, this is not maybe something that everybody can do just this way, but think if you were to find something in your life, at your home, or your business, that you could streamline, or you could think about in a different way, and free up 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week. I mean, like magic.
Yeah. Oh my
Yep.
gosh, that's so awesome. So I'm like, oh, we're gonna have to chat with each other because I feel like our topics are really related and you and I are very similar but also very different. So I'm sure we'll come at them in completely different
Oh
ways.
yeah.
Tell me like give us some like sneak peek nuggets of like maybe share one thing, like one powerful thing with us
Mhm.
that
Well,
you did to streamline that
way
and and
the
for other business.
invoicing was being done, and the way it was being done was that there was an invoice for everything, every single shipment that the trucking company moved. And the first time I did the invoicing for the week, it took me 2 hours, and in my opinion, that was an hour and 55 minutes too long.
That you will never get back.
I will never get back. And I could see myself for the rest of my life doing this. And I'm like, no, no. And suddenly I started looking at the way we were doing business in a completely different way. And I went to the company and I made a proposal that they loved, worked better for them, worked better for me. And the invoices in the future were 5 minutes.
Oh my
I
gosh.
know, like,
Love
and it's just a matter of we look at things like this is the way it's always been done or how other people do things. And sometimes it's really hard to get out of that box. And I'm really good at getting out of the box because I'm not staying in that 2 hour box if 5 minutes will do it. So,
100%. So that kind of ties into part of what I'm going to be talking about, which is that you got to where you are by doing what you've been doing. And in order
mhm,
to get to the next level, you have to be willing to do something different. So that business got to where it was by doing things how it had been done. You know what I mean? And you said it was in debt. It wasn't operating very effectively. Like there was all these problems, right? But
yeah,
they were at least a somewhat successful business. Otherwise,
mhm,
like it wouldn't have been anything for you to inherit, right?
right.
So they got to where they were by doing what they've been doing. And in order to move to the next level, in order to bring in more income or just whatever that needed to be or wanted to be, now that you became the head of it, right?
Mhm.
You had to do something different.
Yeah, it was different, and there are so many things. So over time, I have coached different people, business owners, right? And I remember this one woman. She was probably about mid 30s. She had younger kids, and she had started this business where she had come up with this really cute idea, and she was importing a couple of containers of product, and then she was selling them retail and she just wasn't moving fast enough with what she wanted to do. And I'm like, you've got to change it up. Like clearly it's not working. Said my recommendation is that you get up an hour before your kids and like get so much work done for your business, like dedicate an hour to your business because like I said, she was stay-at-home mom. She was trying to start this and run this business. Her husband was working full time and it just wasn't going. And this is what she told me. She goes, no, I'm not willing to do that. And I'm like, wow, that shocked me because if you have a dream, and she was so close. I mean, she had the prototype, she had the products coming in, she was trying to, get them to market. And I thought, sometimes we are not willing to do the thing that needs to be done. And that's the difference between somebody who's like killing it and being successful or just mediocre.
Yeah.
Literally the ones that are willing to do the hard stuff.
Yeah.
That's what
It's
it
so,
is
so,
sometimes.
it's so, so true. And it's interesting because I primarily talk about feminine energy and how to run a business in feminine energy. Um, and part of that is being in the flow and putting like your body and your needs and your emotions and everything at the forefront, like having that one be one of the main pieces. So I'd be curious, like with that example that you shared, I'm like, I'd be curious to like go back and have a chat with her and be like, would that have put like her sleep at jeopardy? And she knew that she needed a certain amount of sleep, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Could she have hired something out to where she wouldn't have to get up an hour earlier, right? But to your point, so there's ways that we can figure this out, but to your point, you have to be willing to do it. And
Yeah.
that's the part of like really it's interesting because I'm like, even though I'm always talking about feminine energy, in order to be successful in business, you have to have the balance of masculine and feminine and actually to be successful in life because we know like organically in order to create life you have to have masculine and feminine, right?
Hmm.
And so it has to be that balance and both are required. And I feel like the trick, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this, the trick is knowing when. When is a
Yeah.
time to be in flow? When is the time to hold a really strict schedule and boundaries, whatever that and
Hmm.
structure, you know what I mean? What are
Hmm.
your thoughts and what has been kind of your experience around all of that?
So I would say most of my life, and I've been in corporate for a long time, and then I went off and did my own entrepreneurial things. Um, I was in masculine energy,
Oh,
and
same, me too. Most
yeah,
most women are.
yeah.
How we
And I
raised.
look back and I realize where it started. When I was 16, my parents got a divorce. I'm the oldest child, and suddenly I became the masculine energy in the home
Yeah.
because I decided nobody was ever going to hurt my mom again, right? And I really stepped into that. I was kind of I'm the parent in that role, let's be clear. I'm like the one who's like, Mom, like, let's not do this. Um, but I was the oldest of seven and kind of really took on that role. Just no one appointed me to it, but I just knew that somebody needed to kind of be in charge.
Yeah.
So I look back and I'm like, that was decades ago, and I lived most of my life in that energy, which didn't serve me most of the time, right? Um, in corporate, like I was in a male dominated industry. I had to show up and like be strong and like this is the way it is. But it wasn't until I was I left corporate and I put everything, my whole value was in my paycheck or what I was doing at home. Was I taking care of the house, the kids, I had to do. And I suddenly realized that my value was not outside myself. It was not in the doing, right? It was in the being. And I had to dig deep and find where my value was. And I would force myself to sit on the couch and read a book. And I'd be like, well, there's so many things I could be doing. And I'm like, nope, I'm just going to sit here and be and feel my value doing
No
nothing
matter
but be.
what, yep,
Yeah.
100%. That's where I'm like, we're very, very similar in our energies because I'm very much the same way. And part of my story I share about how when I first kind of started diving into the feminine energy, I literally spent a summer doing next to nothing for me, next to nothing, which still might look like a
Yeah.
lot to someone else, right? Like you get that. But literally spent an entire summer in my hammock in my backyard reading a book
Yeah.
because I was like I literally have to do like a complete pendulum shift to go from
Mhm.
like go do values based on what I accomplished to like no, I can lay here and do absolutely nothing and I am still at
Mhm.
max value. Like my value
Yes.
does not change at all.
Mhm. I
So
think if more women understood that, that their value comes from being and not the doing, the men's are the doing, right? And so what has happened, like we as women have taken on the doing, so then the men have taken on the being, and they're sitting around on the couch doing nothing, and then we're busy doing, and it's
I'm
out
feeling
of balance.
frustrated because they're not helping.
Yeah. And we're out of balance, right?
100%.
Hmm.
100%. My like looking back, I'm like I forced my husband into feminine energy because I was in masculine, which forced him when a woman goes into masculine, it actually forces her partner into feminine energy. Like there has to be a balance, right?
Hmm.
But I would feel so frustrated that he wouldn't help her. I was like, why is he being so lazy? Why is he like, can he see there's stuff to get done? Why is he more motivated? All this stuff. And looking back now, I'm like, I'm so sorry, honey. I didn't know what I was doing. And
Hmm.
now the balance there is just, it's so, so, so amazing to feel.
Well, now in my marriage, uh, so no young kids at home. We have a 24-year-old that lives at home still, but that's the youngest, right? So
uh,
so not like the same way. But how have I gotten out of all the doing is that I stopped doing a lot of things that he was used to my doing. He's like, well, who's gonna do it? And I'm like, you could do it, or nobody could do it.
So like been there, done that
Yeah.
so many times. That's so awesome. But it actually empowers our husbands to because they're meant to be doing, they're meant to be protecting, they're meant to be providing, right? And so when we as women, and I always tell people it always starts with the woman, look at Adam and Eve. It just does. When the woman will choose to step out of masculinity and into more femininity, it automatically allows the man to go, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm not processing them. Takes time. It's not going to happen overnight, but yeah, absolutely incredible. I think that's like I'm like it's kind of a slight tangent from what we're focusing on, but one of the things I notice more and more with the women that I work with is that because we are women and our families and our personal lives are important, if we're building our business at the expense of our relationships, it's not worth it. It's
No,
just
it's
not worth
not.
it. And
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
know you know what that is like as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I lost my son to suicide 6 years ago, and it's one of those things like all the stuff and all the accolades and anything that you might have done or accomplished in your life, like it doesn't matter. It comes down to the relationships. That's
100%.
what matters, right?
100%. So I'm always saying like, let's build our business and let's build our relationships. Like, let's not build a
Hmm.
business at the expense. Let's do them together because everything works in together, right? And in fact, I just saw something about that just like earlier today. I can't remember now what it was, but it was something to the effect of like your success in your business is directly correlated to your success in your personal life and vice
Yeah.
versa.
Oh, absolutely. I totally believe that. This is so funny because this was probably, I have to think back, maybe 15 plus years ago. My kids were younger, and I'm trying to do all the things and not having as much success as I wanted, and I am just frustrated. And so I started doing journaling, and I started doing things where I was like getting my frustrations out, which were I was frustrated with my husband and my son. And I thought that I could have all this pent up frustration at home and I could go out into the work world and nobody would know. But they might not know what's going on. But if you're
Details.
energetically off, like people feel, it feels weird, right? Um, and it took me a couple years of just like writing and writing and getting it out. And then I started to have like huge success because I was able to get rid of the old energy that was stirring it up at home in my relationships.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So, Lark, your main focus is on helping people with their money mindset. How are you
Yes.
going to be tying that in
Yeah.
what you're presenting
Yes.
at the Art of Expansion?
So how I look at this, I want to give some really good skills that people can use and some ideas to help them in their business, right? So they can start thinking about things in a different way. And then I want to tie in the fact that I use human design as a modality to really help people
So good.
understand
So
themselves,
good.
right? It's changed my life. I call it the curriculum for life because if you're in school, wouldn't it be nice to know what you're studying today? And and using my human design, I have and Jinkies, I have I now know my mission. I know my mission and what I'm here to do. And when I started aligning what I do and what I teach with that mission, like my soul starts to sing because you're in alignment with your purpose. And you can know what that purpose is. I can help people, understand what that purpose is and then understand your specific gifts. And one of my specific gifts is I can hear and see where people are blocking themselves in getting their gifts and in their money. And it's like if we have a money conversation or I've just happened to walk by somebody having a conversation and they say something about money that's out of alignment with money frequency, like my skin starts to crawl.
It's your spidey sense.
Exactly. And I'm just like, no, 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 stop, stop. Like, let's clean the
It's
air.
me.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Can you give us a like an example or an experience or something?
So I was at this retreat a few years ago, and there were about 25 women there, and I'm coming down for breakfast. I know nobody in the room, okay? I'm coming down for breakfast, and there's a group of them, and they're over there at the table going, life is so hard. Like things are so expensive. And oh my gosh, the utilities and buying gas and doing this and just a gallon of milk. And they're going on and on and on. And I'm like, I cannot be in the room with you. Excuse me. Because when we feed that negative energy and negative frequency grows, right? So like there are times you just got to excuse yourself from the money conversation because it's not going to serve you to sit in that and dwell on what other people's money issues are, right?
100%. So what if a lot of times people will ask me when we're talking about money mindset stuff, well, but it's my husband or it's my kids or it's my parents or it's like people that you can't really like, excuse me, like I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go have a different life, like you're attached to them. What have you seen in those scenarios?
So sometimes you just have to like release them. So my mother still chooses to live in poverty. Like it doesn't matter what I teach her. It doesn't matter what I've tried to explain to her or tried to help her. Nope, that's who she sees herself. She grew up in poverty. She apparently wants to like
Their
continuing on that path.
identity.
Yeah, and I'm like, I have finally resigned myself. Like that's her choice, right? So spouse is really important, more than we might think, and you sort of need to be on the same page, but you also don't have to buy into their scarcity stories. Like you can choose to live in abundance and choose to live in certain ways, even in your mind. Like it doesn't, it's not reality, but it can be reality. You can be your reality. Um, I I have a friend who would always go to her husband and explain to him, she's like, I want to manifest this. Like, will you help me like manifest? And he would make fun of her. And I'm like, why do you keep doing this? Stop. He's not going to support you. He doesn't
Not
have the
interested.
understanding. Just do it yourself or ask me to help you like hold space.
Hmm.
Uh, but stop going to people that are not going to help you build your dreams. Just like do it yourself, right?
100%. My when you said that about going to your husband, I'm like, if you so I do a lot of because I do feminine energy and I work with women and stuff like a lot of things I find lead back to sex and your sexual relationship and the way that you do one thing is the way that you do everything. So the way you do sex is the way you do life. If you think about that from it, you'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's true.
That's a
It's true,
visual.
right? But I have found so sexual energy is creation energy, it's manifestation energy, right? And so one of the ways that I got my husband on board with that, I was like, hey, I've learned or I've realized that like sex energy is creation energy, which is manifestation energy. So like, do you want to help me like with this creation? And he's like, uh-huh. So there's a little tidbit if you ever find yourself in that situation, like Lark just explained, like that might be a way to get your husband on board.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're referring to Napoleon Hill's book, about the sexual energy, right? Like
Uh-huh,
that
uh-huh.
whole thing. Yep.
So good, so good. Um, so so backtracking to your story and what you were sharing, I have literally seen that in my life and in my family. So I've been married for 22 years now. We have 5 sons. And when I first started talking about, energy and mindset and all these things, it was totally like, oh my gosh, like mom's gone off the deep end, mom's crazy, mom's, whatever. But now, like 4 or 5 years later, I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's like my husband is totally like he's like yeah that's how it works and it wasn't because I tried to like push it on him. I did for a while and then I realized oh that's not helping, but I just like let it be me and what I did and I shared little things here and there and I didn't try and push it or anything, but now it's so cool to see how he has because it's facts. Like this is not
Mhm.
woo-woo stuff. This is literally and science is now proving like this is literally how it works. Vibration,
Yeah,
frequency, your energy, all this
yeah.
stuff, right? So to women who might be in that situation like you just described, again, it all starts with the woman. And if
Hmm.
you will just keep going, eventually and do it with love and with joy and with acceptance and be like, you can do you. You can do your life however you want to. This is how I'm choosing to do my life. Like no worries. Like you do you, I'll do me, and then we'll both love each other. Like totally
Yeah.
great, right?
Hmm.
It's really fun to see how things have shifted in our family and hearing my boys talk about stuff like this, hearing them be open to it, hearing my husband talk to them about stuff like this, where I'm like, oh, should that actually just come out of your mouth? Like it's the best feeling. So for women who are in that situation, like Lark just described, just keep going. Like it's going
Hmm.
to work out. Just keep going. Don't worry about what other people are doing and you just focus on you.
Yeah,
It's gonna work out.
exactly. The one thing too, like understanding human design, especially like my family and my husband's human design, I now know how to relate to him better,
Yeah.
right? And
Yes.
and and his astrology. So I know
Yes.
you use a lot of astrology. That
Yes.
was so funny. Like before my son died, woo did not exist for me. And after he died, I'm like, tell me all the things. I need
Yeah.
all the things, right?
Yeah.
And so just embracing the astrology. My husband, Capricorn sun, Capricorn moon.
Hey,
Okay.
Capricorn's in the house. I'm Capricorn sun.
Okay, but like, where do you think his entire life, focus, mission, and heart is all in his career?
Hmm.
And I could resent that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, honey, you just run. You just do that. And he could work and work and work. And I'm like, well, we'll take great vacations and we'll both enjoy the vacations together. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but understanding that it's easier for me to allow him to do what makes him happy.
Because he's not doing it to spite you or to avoid you
Mhm.
or anything. It's like literally what lights him up and what
Yeah.
he's here to do. And so you
Yeah.
learn how to come to terms with that and how to respect
Hmm.
that, right? Just like he learns how to respect you and how you do things and everything.
Hmm.
Love that. Love that.
Exactly.
Ah, any final like probably should we wrap it up here. Any last little
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to share?
Anything you want to share with business owners? Anything you think they need to know? Or a
Oh
tidbit?
man. Well, I'm going to be speaking about stepping into your queen energy and creating your empire in your business. And so, again, like moving that feminine energy into our business, receiving support, building an admin team, and just really learning how to. So, I've been studying Queen Elizabeth, who passed away a few years ago in England, and her life and how she was such a beautiful example of a queen who stood in her energy and who was really clear on, like, no, this is what I do as the queen. These things over here, I do not do these things. And we need that in our lives as we're trying to run an empire that includes our business, includes our home, includes our relationships, includes personal time, and includes God, all these pieces, right? Like how to find the balance in that. Um, so I'm gonna be teaching and sharing about that, and then also about how, and you kind of mentioned this already, most people don't get the results they want in their business because they want proof, they want evidence of how it's going to go. They want
Mhm.
evidence that if I invest in this thing or if I do this thing, that I'm going to get my money back, or I'm going to have that guarantee, or I'm going to get, clients or whatever it is. But so much of business is just trusting, and especially as women, like having that desire, putting that desire. And I'm very like, everything that I do involves God and involves heaven, so I speak into that a little bit, but really having that trust and that faith that people who really do well in business, they make decisions quickly and they act quickly and they move forward, not always knowing how it's going to work out, but they do
Yeah.
what feels what like either they feel like it's the right thing, or there's some evidence out there that it could be successful, and they're willing to take those steps and
Yeah.
fail or succeed, but keep
Mhm.
going no matter what
Yeah.
it is.
Instead of the whole second guessing thing, because
Yes.
like you take two steps forward, oh, I'm not sure, and then you're three steps back. I mean, don't do that. If you're not committed, like don't
Yes.
even start, right? Just
100%.
like you're saying, I don't know all the answers, and so
But you
often
keep going.
we want we want immediate satisfaction. We want, we put in a little bit of effort, we want a huge amount of results, right? And where I'm at now in my coaching, it's taken me 2 years to get to the point where I've now got a six-figure business in my coaching. But it didn't start out that way the first month or even the first year, right? But it's what I knew my soul was here to do, and it made me so happy. And so it was less about the money and more about, hey, am I showing up doing what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah,
And that's
100%.
that's where you will feel the reward. And it probably comes in satisfaction first of all,
Huge.
and then the money will show up as you are coming to market with your skills
Yep.
in the right way.
One of my first mentors, I'll never forget it. She taught me your your wealth, the money you make in your business is directly correlated to the amount of people that you help, and
Yeah,
in what
that's
kind of
all it is.
capacity. So the
Yeah.
more that you're helping more people and bigger ways,
Mhm.
that's where you start bringing in more income. And then just
Yeah.
keep going. Just keep doing it.
That's what it's all about, is if you want more money, you need to provide more value.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
And you have to decide that you're worth that value
Hmm.
and
Oh,
charge.
there's so much, it's all
I know. I'm
about,
like, that's why I'm like, we could talk about this forever.
yeah, laying your own foundation and showing up, and learning the things yourself so that then you can show up in the market as who you were meant to be.
Yes. So on that note, investing in coaching programs, investing in book, investing in
Mhm.
classes, investing in business training events and
Mhm.
personal development events, because you are your business. We just talked about like everything is all correlated, right? So investing in time and energy and money to come and join us at the Art of Expansion event,
Yeah,
March 14th
exactly.
and 15th in Orem, Utah. They're all day events. Lark, you've been getting together some food trucks for us that sound
Yes,
amazing.
so we're gonna have some food trucks,
Tacos.
some really good foods, taco, barbecue, and then an Asian fusion truck. So something for everybody,
Oh my
right?
gosh, but it's only 2 days and you have three trucks, and I want to
Yeah.
all.
So many choices.
Pick some for later. Okay, anything else that you want people to know?
Nope, I'm just really excited about the event. I feel like as business owners, we're not your time clock puncher. We're different. We think differently. We need resources, and more than anything, we need connections with other business owners. Super
100%.
important.
networking. Sean Finnegan's gonna be there talking about like building your network and stuff and how powerful that is. And he's
Mhm.
amazing. So
Yep.
okay, super fun chatting with you. Love you tons. Been a pleasure to get to know you better as we work together and stuff. And everybody on the call or watching this, please, like there'll be links below to get registered. Um, all the fun things. So we'll
Okay.
see you there. All right.
We'll see you there. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.